welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Chairman of the Anti-Graft Agency fails to honor the invitation by the Senate committee. The newly inaugurated Presidential Committee on Corruption warns against meddling with government funds. Another suicide bombing in Maiduguri, Borno State, kills one soldier. And the tragic shooting of 2 television presenters in Virginia, the United States. All right, a quick reminder to you now that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on the Android, iOS and Windows platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. Indeed, we have some pictures that have been sent in from all over the country, and let's begin with this one from the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, showing the scene of an accident. There are no details as to the cause of that accident and if there were any casualties. And from Kubwa Expressway in Abuja comes this picture of a gridlock, which our eyewitness reporter says was due to an accident. Our next report is from Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, showing what our eyewitness reporter says is an illegal dump site. He appeals to the Waste Management Agency of Kogi State to clear the rubbish. And still on refuse is this report from Kano City, showing the unhealthy disposal of rubbish. Our reporter says the city was not like that before and calls for a more hygienic way of disposing waste. Our final picture is from the Agege area of Lagos, showing a bad road. Our eyewitness reporter says the construction of the road started in 2010 but was abandoned, making the road unmotorable. He appeals to the state governments to complete the road to ease movement by both pedestrians and motorists as well. Thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and do remember that you can be our eyewitness reporter wherever you are in the world. The Judicial Commission of Inquiry set up by the River State Governor Nyesom Wike to probe the immediate past administration of the former governor Chibuike Amechi has adjourned sitting till Friday, August the 28th. The adjournment comes with a threat to issue a warrant of arrest to any officer, official of the former administration who refuses to honor its invitation to appear before it. Our correspondent Emmanuel Irui reports that the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party are currently in a war of words as to whether the panel is justified to probe the former governor.
Members of the River State Judicial Commission of Inquiry filing out at the Chief Judge's Court in Port Harcourt. The chairman of the commission says the mission of investigating the alleged sale of state assets and other matters of disbursements of funds under the administration of former Governor Chibuike Amechi will respect the rule of law. The APC in the state, however, claims that the constitution of the panel is questionable and its findings cannot be reliable.
Just last week, the former Attorney General of the state, Honorable Wogu Bombs, made some revelations about discussions he had with the chairman of the panel one-on-one, in which the chairman said very unspeakable things about the former governor of River State, Right Honorable Chibuike Amechi.
For the PDP in the state, the panel should be allowed to do its job.
When you put your facts before them and the evidence before them are genuine and are convincing, nobody can twist the hand of the law. Because if you do that, the man himself, the head of the panel, is aware that he will have issues to answer. So it doesn't follow. That's not true. It's just mere allegations to smear the image of the panel.
And on the flip side, it appears though that the ongoing feud between the former governor and his successor is having its toll on the people.
They should sheathe the sword and look at governance as the prerogative of the people and not fighting that will tear the state into pieces. It will not augur well for 2019.
As the inquiry into allegations of corruption continues, the call of the people, however, is for the peace and development of their state. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
The primate of the Anglican Church of Nigeria, Archbishop Nicholas Oko, has called for a reduction in the cost of governance to pave the way for more development projects. In Abuja today, the clergyman frowned on what he called the huge waste incurred in carrying out government activities. He recommended part-time sitting for assembly members and also a slash in the remunerations of those in government.
To reduce the cost of governance requires more than reducing salaries. I think that it requires a structural adjustment. That is to say, should the people in parliament be there on permanent basis, or they should be there on part-time basis, so that if they are there on part-time basis, they earn allowances. But as it is now, they are employed in the business of lawmaking. So the country has to choose. If really we want to reduce the cost of governance, reducing salary is not going to be much, because the salary in itself is not much. So what comes out of it after reduction is not going to be much. But if we take a more serious approach to say, as it was being done in the past, let those who are members of the parliament do so on part-time basis, then it becomes possible to have the reduction of expenses being made on the lawmakers.
And to northeast Nigeria, where there is still an uneasy calm in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, after an explosion that left one person dead and another injured. The blast occurred at the airport junction checkpoint. The spokesperson, 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, Colonel Tukuru Gusau, said that the victim is an Air Force officer. Well, the second Niger bridge initiated by former President Goodluck Jonathan may not go ahead in its present format, and that's coming from the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. The Director General, Mr. Aminu Diko, after briefing the President at the Villa, said that his agency is withholding its certificate of compliance for the project. And the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation has cancelled the current contracts of supply of crude to the nation's refineries. The move, according to the corporation, is to curb the exorbitant cost and inappropriate process of engagement. The subsidiary of the NNPC, Nidus Maritime Limited, has been engaged to provide crude delivery service on negotiated industry standard rates, pending the establishment of the substantive contract. The NNPC has also terminated the offshore processing agreements entered into in January 2015 with 3 companies: Duke Oil Company, Ito Energy Resources Limited and Sahara Energy Resources Limited. The corporation claims that the current OPA is skewed in favor of the companies, such that the value of product delivered is significantly lower than the equivalent crude oil allocated for the program. Alternatively, the NNPC has invited Orlando, Sahara Energy, Carlson, Miss Duke Oil and Total Trading to bid for the new offshore processing agreement. It's game over for dealers of petroleum products and operators of fuel stations who sell above the official pump price of 87 naira per litre. The Department of Petroleum Resources is on their trail again and is clamping down on those selling above the pump price. The regulatory agency has stormed Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, sealing dozens of filling stations for adjusting their pumps and overcharging buyers.
They came unannounced with necessary equipment to monitor the sales of petroleum products. Officials of the Department of Petroleum Resources in Kogi State are at work to deal with filling stations found cheating on customers. At this filling station, 87 naira appears as the pump price, but customers are however cheated. The volume dispensed to the public is not the same. The Department of Petroleum Resources say the enforcement exercise has become imperative following several complaints.
The public were changed to as high as 0.7 liters, 7 milliliters. That is the amount of profit they are making to the unsuspected customers. Customer doesn't know about these things, but for every 10 liters they sell to the public, they are cheating that particular customers by that volume. 0.7 is very high. It's above the tolerable limit.
The same is discovered at MSS Bodan filling station and several others, including this NNPC station at Natako, also selling above the normal price.
The customers are not unduly shortchanged. That's the essence of it. We have various reasons for selling those stations. It's not all about price monitoring. We consider the quality, we consider the quantity, which is very paramount to the consumers. We also consider the risk element.
It's quite disheartening that despite repeated warnings, dealers are found wanting in almost all the stations visited. Only a few stations are noticed to be selling at the approved price.
They will have to pay a penalty, which is 100,000 naira for the station that has been sealed. And since it is not a problem of diversion, if it were a diverted product, which we have not seen any, they are expected to pay 200 naira per liter.
The penalty may not be tough, but it is not a good impression on the marketer. Besides, it does show that the DPR is bent on sanitizing the industry.
When the news at 10 returns, SON and Customs collaborate on e-imports. Please stay with us.